What's up, YouTube fam? Stark Angel's Journey, I'm Shakira. I figured I'd do a review of my performance this week and what I could have done better, and let's see where we are, right? And then, take a look at all the silver bullets that formed this week and analyze them in depth. So let's go. And I'm gonna get 20. All right, so I'm trying a new format with the white background and the black and dark and seeing how much I like that. 'Cause when I'm sitting outside, I can see it better. Looks like Kitty is done with his window time. All right, so let's take a look. First and foremost, full disclosure, the week started out good. I got, all right, so on the 6th, what day was that? Tuesday, right? So mm, on the 5th, I took a trade, didn't hold it, and only took 75. So that got me to 17,680. So I started the week with 17,605. I've ended the week $100 less than that. After having, you know, on Tuesday took one trade, just one. Beautiful, love that. On Wednesday took one trade, love that, beautiful. Thursday did silly things, three trades, done. Follow the process. And then, okay, sorry, four. One, two, three, four. Yeah, four trades. Four trades on Thursday, four trades on Friday. None of the trades on Fridays worked out for me. And which is silly because I have a ton of canceled orders from Silver Bullets. From Silver Bullets that should have kept messing up my order for the Silver Bullet and missing it and missing it. So that was 30 ticks I didn't get, at least yesterday. Anyway, so um I'm back. I'm like $100 less than the week before. That's okay. The one thing that's pretty obvious for me this week is the fact that I'm not worried about the losing trades, and the fact that the trade that I took on Tuesday that, netted me 40 ticks, 10 handles, showed me that if I follow my process, then I can absolutely get out of this drawdown relatively easy. So right now I'm about $2,505 in drawdown right now from my 20,000. And as I mentioned, I'm not resetting this account. It is what it is for from now until the end of the year. This is the same account that I started on what was it? Uh April 17th. I'm not I'm not clearing it out. So you can see my journal. Look at all these canceled orders. Canceled. Trying to catch the silver bullet and not understanding um where I should have taken that trade. So let's work our way backwards, right? Let's work our way um back through the from Friday through Monday and see what the silver bullets look like. So we'll use these guys and I'll just, I'll just I'll just make this side big. All right, so let's work our way from the afternoon trade. So I took all four trades in the afternoon here. I was looking for a short, but here inside of this space here, which is silly. Uh, but my bias was short because we'd already reached up well into a premium, and I figured they'd want to come back into this liquidity void open range gap, and then the rest of the gap. That's what I was looking for in the afternoon. Let me fix my session colors. Can we be blue? Because I couldn't see them. And you can be a brighter shade of red, I think. Okay. Okay, so now we can see the sessions. Right. So, um, the silver bullet, I was trying to catch a lot. Okay, sorry, I was going backwards. So for this one, I was trying to catch shorts here, so I kept getting stopped out in here. So as account histories go, for Friday, 5, 3, 3:23, 4 o'clock, 4:10. Oh, sorry, that one's 3:68. 2 o'clock, 2:10, 2:21, 2:28. So start from 2 o'clock and see what the heck I was trying to be doing. I was trying to short. So 2 o'clock came around here, and I was just expecting. This is my tape read. I didn't take this. This is a tape read. Yeah. So let's clear it out. Obviously, it would have been semi-okay. I was aiming for the sell side all the way down here for like a 62 tick run, but they came to the weekly gap high, and that was that. Okay, and then we had this premium fair value gap, I think on the 1 hour that they were playing around into, and they got the top of this order block right here, and then they were just hanging out at this 0.25, the weekly order block. So I was waiting to see what was going on, but let's dive in a little bit. We're just going to use this window. So let's look at the 1 minute. 2 o'clock, and what the silver bullet was supposed to look like. Okay, 3:14. Okay, so when 2 o'clock rolled around, this is me being silly now, I was here trying to, was consolidating at the top of this thing. I was thinking it was acting as resistance, so I was trying to take a short. Just stupid silly, because what is the formation here? It's one of those moments where I really just didn't follow my process, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It happens. Now, then this happened, this shift right here, nice shift. But this is on the 1 minute, right? So if I'm going to do this, I should be waiting for like a shift on the 5 minute out of this space. So it shifted up, and then we finally got a shift here. Did it leave us a fair value gap in here? So once it left this region on the 5 minutes, the fact is this, right? We zoom out a bit more. Let's go up to like the 15 minute or something. Let's zoom out. Look at what it did, right? It ran up and then came back down to an obvious like order block, stayed inside of this opening range gap for Friday. And if I'm gonna use these lighter colors, I need the text to be bright, very bright. Okay, so for Friday's opening range gap, so there are two things that I was paying attention to. One, there was a liquidity void, right, when Friday opened, right? So there's a void there. And then I just noted the rest, just the rest of the gap, but with the void inside of it. That's all. In case you're wondering where that came from. So I was just being stupid in here. Very, very silly. So on the 15 minutes, what it looks like, it's just a return into this order block here that I had outlined right there. And in all of this chop right here, all of this chop, should I have taken a trade? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So, but hindsight and all that jazz. It's like the only real potential trade. So on the 5 minute, there's nothing here. 4 minutes, we have this fair value gap that I didn't even notice because I, for some reason, wasn't toggling. And we'll take this off for now because they've been playing in that for quite a while. It's very, very well balanced. So if I was paying attention to this on the, and this is my review, right? Pay attention, toggle. So we have this fair value gap right here on the 4-minute. Let's see what it looks like on the 3-minute. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the 4-minute. On the 3-minute, this portion of it is already balanced, right? So if I refine it further for what's actually available for use on the 3-minute, that's it right there. Let's see what the 2-minute brings. Okay, so for the 2-minute, we've the fair value gaps here because we've traded up. This is somewhat balanced. So this is all that's available on the 2-minute from that shift. Okay, let's go on to the 1-minute. All right. So for the 1-minute, 2-minute, they're in sync, right? And now we have a proper shift, high, higher high, shifted through lowest down candles on this 1-minute would be the breaker right here. So we had a bearish breaker right there. Lovely. And then fair value gap right there. And inside of the breaker, we have this order block right here. So my general expectation, if I'd been really properly paying attention for a quick short here, given the choppiness of this block, should have been this fair value gap up here, so right there, a tick stop right there. And then where could it go, right? This liquidity void there. So that was like, for me, the only good play. Let's look at the 15 seconds on that one. Can we? Yeah, high, traded through. Yeah, so the 1-minute would have given us enough on that one. And then, given the shift, my general expectation would be for it to break even lower, but look at what it did. It's been rising, so I'm still bullish, right? So waiting for it to drop into something like this, maybe take a little bit of this, is probably the most I could have hoped for. So let's go back up to a 5-minute on that one. Like, what's down here? Where did it stop? It stopped at this order block after the shift right here inside, inside the order block inside of this liquidity void. If we look down here, the only thing that's left is a small, tiny bit of this fair value gap. But we had a nice shift here, so yeah, it's not the best. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at the 10 o'clock where I kept missing it. So 10 o'clock came and we were just pushing up. So I was waiting for some sort of like Judas swing on the 9:30, but we just kept climbing. We just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. So when 10 o'clock came around, let's go on to the 4-minute. So when 10 o'clock came around, all I had, so on the 5-minute, didn't have anything, right? The 4-minute, so we had, and we'll just refine this down, right? We had this fair value gap and this order block right in front of it, bullish. I was doing other things, I'm not paying attention. Let's cycle down 3. So I really need to focus when I'm taking these trades. Like if I'm going to take it, I need to take it because that's what I need to be doing, not because anything else. So on the 3-minute, that's fine. 2 minutes. So on the 2 minutes, we don't actually have anything. So everything's been traced up, it's balanced. All they did was come back down to, this is the open. Let me see, the open of this is up here. So open this candle, 43.17. What's the low of this candle? 43.17. So on the 2-minute, this is the order block that took things off. So like this entry here would have been okay. I think on the 1 minute, like I kept messing up with a volume imbalance that was hanging out. Well, I kept wanting the entry down here and then not taking it from the volume imbalance. And that's why it kept messing me up. And then I kept moving it too late. So I had, instead of focusing on this fair value gap, right? Because on the higher time frames, this is a balanced price range down here, right? Why would they come back down here? But this volume imbalance, was the draw, and I just wasn't in my mind when I put my long, I wanted an 8 tick stop. It would have been fine, right? But I wanted it below this order block. So I kept setting my entry right here and they never came back down. And the volume imbalance was where they were hanging out here. And then when I moved it to the volume imbalance top, then I never got the entry. And I just kept canceling it. And then it only ran up 30 something ticks in the first place, you know? And then for the continuation at the 10 o'clock, right? So let's go down to 15 seconds. Let's go this way. Kitty is off the window ledge. So then, let's see. Low, lower low, traded through. Things that I missed that I really should be paying attention to. There was, on the 15-second, a bullish breaker right here. Bullish breaker right there, which meant that I should have trusted the breaker with the volume imbalance and just, and I would have gotten an entry right here, 8 tick stop, and ridden it up, as far as it went. And then I would have, as it's going up, 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 I'd probably be trailing my stop based off of the higher time frame structures. So where's 20 ticks in all of this? Right there. Okay. So I probably would have walked away with 20 ticks because, I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, it's just running, 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 running. It had to stop somewhere, right? So let's go up to the 1 hour because I just don't know where it actually ran into. Okay, let's go to the 4 hour. Okay, let's go to the daily. Looks like Kitty's going back upstairs. Look at that wick. Okay, so on the daily, and the thing is, I think from on the daily, this is just areas where it wasn't traded, the contract wasn't being traded very, very excitingly. Oh, well, um, yeah, so it went up to the weekly 0.25 weekly of this order block right here. Sorry about that. I forgot. That's the lines. 0.25 weekly order block. What's up here? So let's go up there and let's drop off the fib on here. See, did I use the bodies? Okay. So they just went above, a little bit above. They're still in the order block, but thought maybe they might reach for the buy side liquidity. But it's Friday, right? It's profit taking time. And the one thing I never really looked at was the weekly profile. Let's hide this. So the week started Monday. So with Monday, we took out, by Tuesday, we took out Monday's low. Man, we're just consolidating. It's just some sideways bullshit this whole week. So when I see these now, I'm just gonna just say, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill. Maybe I try one or two, but you want some sort of trend. This is not helpful at all. Okay, let's go back down to the 5 minutes. And okay, so I kept missing that, so boo. 30 ticks, I probably would have left with 20 because I would have been wanting to at least walk away with 20 ticks on that one. Let's come back up here. Let's take a look. Okay. So honestly, once we made this shift below here, I would have no, hold on, sorry. As I'm tracking this up, I would have been tracking all of the fair value gaps. So this volume imbalance, like I would have been watching it and seeing what it did around it. Do we have any fair value gaps on the way up here? This one right here. What was below this? It's 18 ticks. Okay, so we had a little fair value gap below the volume thing here. So I might have been thinking, let's see, what happens here? It's a 1 minute volume imbalance. I don't know if I would have trusted it that much. And let's see what the bodies did around here. You know, at this point, my stop would have been moved to break even because I don't trust it as I do. But it's a trending day, so I wasn't really expecting, as it was trending upwards, I wasn't expecting to come all the way back down here. So my stop probably would have been under this fair value gap right here. So see what happens here. It rolled up again. Maybe once it took this out, I would have been like, okay, well, once it rolled up, I would have moved my stop. Because 20 ticks, once it rolled up, I would have moved my stop to probably 20 ticks, just right below this volume imbalance right here, just to get my 250, and then see if it's going to ride up some more. But it didn't offer enough handles. But the thing is, we just didn't know where it was going to go. I was expecting maybe a run closer to this guy up here. But anyway. So then, that was one option at 10 o'clock. Oops, Control Z. That was one option at 10 o'clock exactly. And in hindsight, I should have paid more attention. So then we had, let's go back to the 5 minutes, right? Which is where I need to be paying close attention to what happens, right? So on the 5 minute, we did have a shift down out of this space. So the short term, whatever, that was a shift. So potential secondary option for an entry, right? So we had 2022 model formed here at 10:35. And I was in a call, so I didn't have a chance to do it. So buy side taken, shift, fair value gap on the 1 minute. See what this looks like on a 2 minute. Seriously, why does it keep doing that? So there's nothing on the 2 minute, but the 1 minute had something, right? So we had this shift. Technically, higher high shifted through this low candle. This lowest candle here is a bearish breaker. It's a bearish breaker right there. Then we have a fair value gap. Do we have an order block in here? Like, let's see, on the 30 seconds. That I would miss on this breaker. So I'm trying to understand the way these gaps form, right? Like he's talking about. So we had all of this. You know, well, yeah, it's fine. Same, no order blocks in here, except for what's down there on the 30 seconds. Let's try the 15 seconds. Anything juicy on the 15 seconds that we should have been paying attention to up here for a short? And would this have given us more? Okay. So inside of the breaker, nope. So basically the entry, let's see, for this shift, if I were to take the base of this, the fair value gap inside of the breaker, base of that, 8 ticks would have been fine. Where would we have been aiming for, right? My general expectation would be, let's go back up to the 1 minute here. So 40 tick minimum is what I'm hoping this run will give us, right? So I would be aiming for this down here. 78 ticks. So 40 ticks would have been here, and we hadn't even hit this fair value gap right here. It's a good like option. So if I was just going trying to get 40 ticks, that we would have gotten it in that run beautifully. Then we'd have, if we're waiting for this lower entry, another option to pyramid in. Wait for the liquidity void, maybe dig further in. Got some relative equal lows right here. That. And they took the whole thing. They rolled right down into it. It's 102 ticks. The morning run was the one. And they gave you 2 opportunities for an entry. They came right back up to the breaker and gave us 2 opportunities for this. Right back into this fair value gap and then dropped. This is one of those situations where I was 40 ticks in. I might have moved my stop and been stopped out at like 20 ticks or something. But this structure was all kinds of messed up. If I had been aiming for all of that, it says that if I'm aiming for all of this, then my stop could not move until I've hit halfway to it, right? So if I were to take this as my dealing range, right? And I wanted, would have gotten the entry here because it came back. All of that came back. This is the 2022 model. I would have got it all the way up here. Katie wants attention. So 5 minutes. So I'm trying to understand what I did wrong and how I could have managed this better, you know? Okay, so this is the shift, like a pronounced one. We took out this guy, nice looking thing on the 5 minute. So if this is the dealing range, then I technically would have had to wait for it to come back up past the 0.5 for an entry. It's coming back down. And then it would have dropped beautifully. Premium and discount. Something that I'm most definitely missing. Shift. Okay, so then if I had done that, waited, because on the 1 minute, like, This shift happened. They roll back into this order block right here and dropped. It came back up again. It came back up again. And then, I would have to wait. So on the 1 minute, this shift for me was good enough. 3 opportunities. So I couldn't have moved my stop. I would have had to leave it. And then when I endured all of this and it came back up, mm, what did they do? So this shift right here. So there's one shift here and this second fair value gap to contend with. Oh my God, look at the bodies. Look at the bodies. Respecting that guy. So if this guy came all the way back up, still respecting it, man, this would have sucked though. So I got this entry and fell down. Mm. I don't the choppy nature of this price action is what's really messing with me. The fact that we had to do all of this, come back up before it fell out of bed. Because I would have taken this, gotten to 40 ticks or so here, trying to catch the 2022 model right there. It's like 8 tick stop. So it's 9, so 8. So at minimum, how could I have managed this? Like, so I was aiming for this fair value gap. They didn't even tap it. Like this shift. Yeah, I'm still not there yet. Like, knowing to hold for all of this craziness, like seeing it here, expecting it to come all the way down here back to this range that they were hanging out in. Because from the dealing range, one standard deviation's down here. Because once it's stopped, turned, because we did have a big shift, we coming back up into the 0.75 approximately, back into a premium. Back into this regular fair value gap, which you like returned into. Mm. This price action is somewhat baffling, but slowly but surely, y'all, slowly but surely. Okay, so that was Friday's weirdness. What's going on? Okay, so that was Friday. Let's dig into Thursday. Let's dig into Thursday. So this is Friday's fun. Let's go back to Thursday. So I'm just gonna hit the replay button and just do this so I can dig back in. So we're just going backwards. So let's check the afternoon. Well, I guess we should do morning session first. So I have a 6 o'clock thing in here. I am going to take that off. So we're only working with the 10 a.m. and the afternoon sessions. All right, let's go down to the 15-minute. So we had this is the volume imbalance, and these are the quarter, halfway, quarter of it. Oh, and that one. I need to change the naming conventions. I just need to make it bold. weekly blah 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 gap. Make it bold and red. Can barely see it. This and what let's make a brighter color. Yeah. Yeah, let's make it black. Can barely see it as targets. Okay, there we go. All right, so I guess let's do morning through afternoon. Well, whatever. Let's do afternoon first and just we're going backwards. All right, so for this weekly gap, you have the quarterlies attached to it. And I'd spec'd out a 15-minute high and it's a London low. I'm gonna delete all of this stuff for old stuff. So we had this 15-minute fair value gap that formed. Here. Yeah, I probably should do the morning and then the afternoon so the flow makes sense, right? So I'm pretty sure this is like a 1 hour gap or something. Yeah, that formed right here. Let's move it back this way so we can see. And this is 15-minute one inside of it. So this 1 hour gap formed on Thursday at 10 a.m. Now, looking at the price action before this, right? We had all this sell side taken, and then we had this somewhat shallow shift. And 9 o'clock happened. Let's do a 15 minutes so we can see the 9:30 drama. So the first half an hour, right? So 9 o'clock, 9:15, so 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock. So this is the first half hour of trading. So we had this Judah swing and then a shift up come 10 o'clock. So we had this fair value gap form on the 10 o'clock. So let's go down to the 5 minutes. All right, so the 15-minute fair value gap that formed at 10 o'clock, we had this shift. Let me think about this range. So let's see. I don't know that I'm putting it right. It's the point where it paused. I don't think that's a correct setup. So, oh, let me plug this in. There. All right. Oh, I put my foot up. The kitty's at the thing. So, 10 o'clock came. We had all this sell side taken. We had all this buy side ready and available. 10 o'clock came and we shifted beautifully up. Boom. Nice. There's a tiniest of things here, but we have this volume imbalance right there. So what I'm learning is to take the volume imbalance and set my stop. So 8 ticks would have been there. And then we have new week opening gap and then digging into this guy, right? Digging in here. So from my perspective, I'm thinking highest level options is the top of this weekly gap, which they never made it to. But if I'm being like conservative, as I should be, but I'm not, right? Let's say this is what I'm looking for, right? From that 10 o'clock run. At minimum, at very, 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 very minimum, them heading to this new week opening gap. It's so close to this quarter. This quarter would be at minimum what I should have been aiming for, right? So, new week, this fair value gap, it's been traded through. So there's not much in here. see, is there much? It's barely that. So let's focus on this volume imbalance instead and drop down to the into the volume imbalance. Sorry, I should have done 4 minutes. So volume imbalance from the 4 minutes. The fair value gap's tiny thing there. 3 minutes. Something I also missed. Low, lower low, traded through. See on the 5 minutes here. So low, lower low, traded through. So this whole thing is a bullish breaker side. So inside of the bullish breaker, volume imbalance, tiny fair value gap. So it's 3 minutes. In the 3 minutes, there's an order block in there, right where the volume imbalance is. So that should have given me even more comfort that this would work. 2 minutes. Yep. Because there's no reason for them to come back down, right? Because on the there's this little guys, but they're not as reliable on the lower time frames. Yeah. So this order block inside of the breaker should have been what I was aiming for. And then let's take a look at the 15 seconds, which I've been finding is a very helpful space as well. Whoops, Control Z. Okay. Let's zoom in on our options here. So on the 15 second, I'm seeing all of this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is looking very balanced, right? So take it, get below it, and go. So on Thursday, I took a trade that was at 75. Yeah, 1038, 1039. I took longs. This is where I got this, I don't know how this happened. You know, I was closing it and it just opened a short. So I closed it immediately. Earning. So I opened a long at 42.76. Okay. I opened a long at 42.76. Right here after this shift. And I moved, this is where I took the long at this good spot right here. Like after the shift, this fair value gap, I took the long at 42.76 right there. And I moved my stop 2 ticks in and it came back out and knocked me out. So my setup was good. I just moved my stop too quickly. I mean, it hadn't even reached halfway to my take profit. Let's say I was aiming for this, which I think I was. I hadn't even made it halfway. Like, well, I guess it sort of made it halfway, but I don't know what my, let me see what my, on the 8th. Let's look at the history. On the 8th, that first entry. Oh, look at all my canceled attempts for the long. It's crazy. Anyway, so the 8th, 42.70. So my buy limit order is filled at 42.76. And my take profit was set to 43.05.75. Wait, let me see. Let me just make sure I'm not losing some of my mind. Oh, 42.89, sorry. 42.89 is where my thing was. 42.89, where are you? So 42.89, yes, I was aiming for the top of this thing. So when I got this, we'd made it about halfway. I should have set it, if I'd taken the entry at the breaker, I would have been fine. But I moved it 2 ticks in and it came and stopped me out. But that would have been a good entry, right? That would have been beautiful, 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 beautiful. And if I take a fib, let's see, from here, trying to see where this price leg stopped, right there, at that shift maybe. Let's see if I'm doing this right. And I was trying to get all the way up here. Then look at that, right? Ticked up right there. 57 takes that right there. One standard deviation was up here. We hadn't even gotten to that. The halfway point was here. Yeah, just basically shouldn't have moved my stop. Or is this my dealing range? Let me see. No, because that can't be it, because then I wouldn't have made it. It has to be what formed it. Ask the 5 minute here on that price leg. So the shift occurred there. So if I was taking up to where the shift happened, no, this is where I decided to come back down. Did we even get to a halfway point? No. Okay. Mm. Anyway, so that's where I was trying to get, because the night shift breaker boom, it exploded beautifully. I was aiming for that. So it's 57 takes, right? But move my stop. Let's take a look at the afternoon. Right, so we're still very bullish. We're inside of this space. I'm expecting it to go up to the weekly gap, whatever. Let's see the opportunities here. I don't think I took any trades in the afternoon on the Thursday. So let's see what we would have gotten. So relatively equal lows right there. Not the best. I tapped the 15-minute fair value gap. So then when 2 o'clock came around, what do we have? We had a volume imbalance right here. So we're volume imbalance, we're bullish. It closed, and we're also inside of this new week opening gap. So once it left this little area here, that's when it would have been a good entry. Let's see what that looked like on the 1 minute. Okay, so from here we had a shift on the 1 minute. Nice. Low, lower low, shifted through. So this very, very thin candle would have been my bullish breaker. And we had this fair value gap inside of this bullish breaker because we're bullish, right? So my dealing range, let's see, this is a better structure. From here to here would have put it right into a premium breaker, fair value gap. There's this order block inside of the breaker. So then could have taken the top of the fair value gap. 8 ticks would have been well below it. Nice. And I would have been aiming for the top of this thing. It's like one standard deviation alone is a nice run. But we have these quarters. We just passed this quarter. So one standard deviation, and the next one is really close to this quarter. So 1.5. Yeah, why not? Aim for that. So I would have got another 57 tick right there nicely on this run. And then halfway point right here is where I would have moved my stop into profit. And then once we saw it respecting this level, continue on up. I need to wait for the structures, right? With the narrative, right? Okay. Breaker, fair value gap. We're in a discount. That's where it should have been. Okay. All right. Let's head over to Wednesday. What did I do on Wednesday? The 7th. I took one losing trade on Wednesday. That was a long position, 42.97 at 10:14. Okay, let's go see what was going on Wednesday. So this is Thursday, Wednesday, Wednesday. Okay, let's roll this back to here. All right. Let's take a look at the morning trade and where I went wrong in my analysis now that I understand what was happening. So 10 o'clock came around. I was taking a long at 10:14. Uh, Not sure why. Let's see. So narrative, something that I was not aware of, right? That I wasn't using in this moment. So 10:14, this happened. Fair value gap, 43.96. Was trying to take a long from here. Got stopped out, obviously. So if I was thinking about the narrative, we'd run up into the weekly gap high on Wednesday. Survey says we should have been expecting it to shift, right? And if we look at what happened, we did have a shift right here. So let's look at the 1 minute at that time frame, right? And this is where I did not pay decent attention. Okay, so we were up at a premium, a very serious premium, right? Dealing range is from this range to this high. So, um, we had two options technically, right? So we hit the midpoint, shifted below here, right here, fair value gap right here. And I'm wondering, let's toggle like this. What's that? Oh, it's Monday. Sorry. Going back too far, y'all. I don't know why it does that. It's very annoying. So we just rolled up all of this. On the 4 minute, we have nothing to work with. 3 minutes. Just this volume imbalance right here. No fair value gap in this whole thing. 2 minutes. Obviously consolidating after hitting something important. No fair value gaps. 1 minute. So the 1 minute presented us with what? This fair value gap right here after the shift. So we had this fair value gap on the 1 minute. They disrespected it, like seriously disrespected it. Let's take a look at the 15-second. Which way did we go? Okay, all right. So do we have something to work with on the 15 seconds? We had this fair value gap here. So we see the 2022 model shifted through. So we had high, higher, high shifted through. I mean, we had a bearish breaker right there. But we also had this fair value gap on the 15-second order block. So I should have been going short. Oh, hang on. Let's Let's go back to the 1 minute first. Let's see if that showcased it. So we did have a higher high shifted through. Yeah, so this, the lowest red candle here, as choppy as this is looking, was a bearish breaker. So yeah, this fair value gap inside the breaker. So if I had been taking the short from, like, say, the base of the breaker, how many, I want an 8-tick, look at that. 8-tick stop, I would have to endure all of this. So we've already done all this stuff from the dealing range, like one, is that the one? I'm having a hard time seeing it. Let's, I think that's a 0. Or the 0 blue. It's the one's white. Let's make it a bright color. Okay. So that's one whole thing. Well, that's the start, sorry. Tripping. So 2 positive standard deviations down would be this. And wow, did that. So the weekly gap low is where I would have been aiming for, right? But 2 standard deviations, which would a 90 tick, 42, 78, 75. And the low of this candle is 42, 78, 50. So I would have gotten that and then one and would have gone 1 tick lower for a 90 tick run from all the way up here. And then, you know, let's look at the way these fair value gaps formed, right? So on the 1 minute, if we missed the 2022 shift, we have this fair value gap, which they left a piece off. So this is a breakaway gap because there's still some of it left. Right. So once we see this breakaway gap, we should have felt comfortable. We should feel comfortable, say, with this other shift, we have this other gap down here, higher high shifted through. Holy craptastic. It's another breaker right there, bearish breaker, with this fair value gap right here. If I were to say, take it, look at the top of that breaker, that fair, because this one's in here too, right? I should feel comfortable with my stop above here, like right here, because it's a breakaway gap. This is just a regular gap because they can trade in and out of this one, no problem. All right, guys, sorry, I had to pause for a hot second. Okay, so yeah, so this is, as I'm learning, and I'm going to test this out like a lot, right? Gap theory, advanced, ICT put out a video about advanced gap theory. So, um, this feels like a breakaway gap because it didn't fill all the way. It always leaves a little bit more. So then when this secondary gap, formed, you should feel pretty confident that it won't come back up here because it's a breakaway gap. This is a regular fair value gap. They can trade all the way through, whatever, and then fall. So technically we had 1, 2, 3, areas where we could have entered here and then aim for that weekly gap low or even that premium fair value gap that's all the way down here, which they dug into a little bit, which is nice. Okay, so that's the Thursday. Let's dig into the 15-second here and just take another look at that gap, right? And see how they behaved inside of it. And it had its own little breaker too, so good area for an entry. Base of the breaker, stop loss above the breaker. It's good. But yeah, you see that even on the 15-second, they left this much of the gap open, so that qualifies it as a breakaway gap. All right. Let's see what happened in the afternoon on this day. let's get back. Let's go up to the 5 minute. What day are we on anyway? We only got back to Wednesday, maybe? Yeah, just Wednesday. Ew, and this behavior here is exactly why I probably didn't touch the afternoon. Either that or I had a call. I don't know. Either way. Let's take a look. This is the 5 minute. So we dropped all the way down and then we're just consolidating around this weekly gap low and the fair value gap. I mean, just gross. Look at this, just gross price action in here. It's just mean. You know, we dropped, we had the short-term shift here. 2 o'clock came around. So, volume imbalance right here, fair value gap. So we're at this, the gap low. 2 o'clock hits. Do we have enough of a run for a long? We've been dropping. We're at another area here. We could potentially dig further into this premium fair value gap. Was there enough for like a 40 tick run? Like what's up here? Pull this through. There's this fair value gap that was just kind of hanging out inside of. It would need to have busted past this puppy. But look how it was respecting it. Nothing to do. Even if you've gotten an entry in here, let's look at the 1 minute. Okay, so 2 o'clock, we had this shift here, the order blocks right here inside the fair value gap. So let's say I was waiting for an entry right there. I would have gotten it. So my 8 tick stop would have been right there. And, oh, what did I do? Okay, sorry. And then I'll be wanting them to take out that high. It's not even 40 ticks. They didn't do anything. They just fell out of bed. I would have been stopped out. It's just gross. Like walking into it on the 5 minutes. It's like at 2 o'clock, I would have been looking for longs. But honestly, on the 5 minute, I would have wanted it to shift up here and close, and it didn't. And then it was just this chop, 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 chop. So I didn't touch it. All right, let's take a look at Tuesday. All right, so that was Wednesday's price action. Let's back up to Tuesday. All right. Did I take anything on Tuesday? Took one loss, a long position at 10.14. Oh, sorry, the 6th. Haha, the 6th. So this is where I was doing silly things. Well, not silly things. The 6th was a good day. I took the one trade on the 6th. And it was a long from 42.76. Oh, and it was a long in the afternoon. This was this was the Monday. Okay, so I took a long in the afternoon. Why? Let's see what the morning had for us. So we had that 9:30 Judas swing, and then we had a shift in structure. Nice. And that left a fair value gap here on the 15 minute. Let's drop down to a 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, all that's really left is this guy. Is this little piece right here. This order block. So 5 minutes, we have low, lower, low, shifted through. So technically, we have a bullish breaker right there. It's like a bullish breaker right there. They never close that candle. The wicks, man. The wicks do the damage. So 10 o'clock rolls through, bullish breaker. My fair value gap on the 5-minute is this guy right here. Bullish breaker. Let's look at the 1-minute. See, I keep skipping. Let's do 4. Keep skipping it. Where'd it go? That's Monday. Okay. Keep skipping the 4-minute to see what else was in this vicinity. So like low, lower, low shifted through. So actually on the 4-minute, it would be the breaker would be this candle, all of this candle right here. We have a volume imbalance right here on the 4-minute. Okay, so let's see, 3 minutes. No volume imbalance on the 3 minutes. So on the 3 minutes, we've been traded through. At least we came back down into this fair value gap. Let's see if I was take the long at the order block inside of the breaker, like right there. And I want an 8-tick stop. That would have stopped me out if I hadn't taken if I wouldn't have taken profit up here. Let's see. Did we get over 40 ticks? 56. What are we looking at? Okay. So let's think. That's on the 3 minutes. Look at the 2 minutes. I didn't trade the morning session, so. Okay, so still have this volume imbalance here. So if I would have wanted the end of that, 8 ticks would have taken care of me on the 2 minutes. And I'd be trying to run for that gap high, honestly. If I'm being honest with you, right there. Which isn't where it went. But that's what I would have wanted. And I hadn't specced out the levels. So I'm gonna do this from the base of this high to here so I can see where we are. So 0.75, halfway point, 0.25. So halfway point would have been 46 ticks, the first run. Of the gap. Not bad, I guess. But let's look at this price leg, this range that we're dealing in. And, oh, sorry, hang on. Doing it wrong. I'm looking for pretty much the range from the shift. So if I do that, that makes more sense. In terms of just knowing where the halfway point. Or does it? Or should it be like where the shift occurred right there? I'm still working out how that's supposed to look. So on the 1-minute, we have all of this. We had this, another volume imbalance. So on the 1-minute, inside the breaker, volume imbalance, top of the volume imbalance, right there. My 8-tick stop. And if I were to take a fib to that low, that high, just for like 1 standard deviation is there. 1.5. On the 1 minute, that's not a lot. So 46 ticks is there. Would have been helpful. Always helpful to know where it's trying to reach for. What did I have up here that was so interesting? So, fair value gap up there, but then they met resistance at this border block. Should note that. So, if I'd done this and paid attention to what's around it, so we had a bearish order block right here. So then aiming becomes, and for this dealing range, I'm just going to put gap, high and low. That bearish order block was about halfway point. So aim for that. Take your 47 ticks and get on out. 0.25 is here, 0.5 is here, 0.75 is there. So probably why I didn't trade the morning session and didn't feel like it had a lot to offer. Let's roll back down into it. But it did offer 40 ticks. So at minimum, got that. Once this shift happened though, 2022 model shift, dropped. No good. So that would have been the morning setup for me if I'd taken it. All right, let's go to the afternoon. So I took 500 that day with an entry from 42.76 and an exit for 42.86 where I was stopped out. So 42.76 down here. All right, so we had, let's get this on the 5-minute first. Okay, so from the morning shift, it just came back down to this order block down here. So we had a bullish order block and they were just hanging out. In here. I think because it was meandering around in this space, just hanging out, is why I took it and put my stop below here. There's 42.76 right there. My 8-tick stop took me below here, so I felt good about that. And then it took off, right? I was aiming for what exactly? I was aiming for the gap for this thing up here. There's a new week opening gap that's this week's new week opening gap that's up here somewhere. So there's 42.88 right there. And let's look at my order, the history. So let's go back to the 6th. Okay, so market order at 42.76 right there. My stop loss got hit at 42.86. My take profit was 42.95.20. Okay. 42.95. 25 is what I had it set to. Oh, because I was aiming for this up here. It got close. And I got stopped out probably down here because I moved my stop here. So I wanted to make sure I locked in 40 ticks from there, right there. Yeah. So my stop was right under here as it was going. And then it continued on up. and got close to my take profit, but no cigar. So if I was aiming for all of that, halfway point between my entry and target is I just crossed the halfway point, so I shouldn't have moved my stop that far. It should have been down here, or even here, like 0.75. And then, once this broke and rolled, then I would have been able to move it up to there. Oh, there. But I need to work on that. It's a constantly getting stopped out thing. Constantly. It's so annoying. And then on Monday, I took a long position from 42.89 at 10:35. Let's go see what happened there. I didn't take an afternoon trade, so. Okay, let's dig back into Monday. It's Monday, okay. Okay, so this is the Monday morning. It's 10:35. It's the 3 o'clock. This was like my estimate for a trade, and I didn't take it. I was just tape reading. For whatever reason. Alright. So 10:35. I took a long at 42.89. Why? I mean, we'd taken out these guys. Shift here. So I guess I was waiting for something. Let's take a look. I think I was worried about being stopped out and maybe I'd moved my stop too soon or something. Because 42.89, let's see. 42.89. Something like that. 8 ticks. I must have moved my stop too soon. I must have. And then I was looking for the top of this thing to be taken, which they did. So let's look at Monday's fills. Okay, so 6:05. I canceled. My take profit was 43.04. I got filled at limit price 42.89, 10.29. There was a sell at 42.90.50. What? I bought it back. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So limit order is filled. There's another market order. I don't see those. Or maybe I canceled the market order. Anyway, my take profit was set at 43.304. 43.304. So yeah, so it was up here is where I was looking for, but for whatever reason, did I get stopped out? I think I got stopped out, or I like exited thinking it was reversing on me. Oh yeah, here's the myself, 42.90.50. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. If my stop was proper, so if I had a limit entry at 42.89, how would I? Make sure I'm not losing my mind, y'all. The long position, 42.89. Yes. So I had a long position from 42.89 and I closed it here. Why? Okay, we had all this chop. Less than 5 minutes. Okay, so we had all this chop. I decided to take. Where am I? To come back this way, sorry. So I took a chance at an entry here because this was rolling up. So I took an entry here, 42.89. And then it started doing silly things after the shift. This is just me not trusting my setup. Straight up. Let's take a look at the 15-second. Where'd it go? Why is it so hard to find stuff? Let's go this way. Oh, it's not available 15 seconds at this time? Yeah, it's just not available. Let's take a look at the 30 seconds here. Yeah, so my intuition told me I should take the entry here, and I did, but I didn't trust it because of the chop. So I exited. And then what would have been a beautiful 61 tick trade, because they absolutely went in and tapped it right there. How long would that have taken anyway? Come here if I'd held it. Hour 45. If this didn't exit me right there, maybe 2 hours and change. Dang. Oh well. And then let's take a look at what my afternoon setup that I didn't take that worked like gangbusters. Back down to the base and to this premium fair value gap. All right, so afternoon came, we had a shift after we took some stuff out. Fair value gap in here. Actually, what did this look like on the 5 minutes? Let's come back here. Yeah, so on the 5 minutes, okay, we were coming back down, I think, from so we hadn't hit the fifth, the halfway point yet of this gap. Oh, hold on. How did I get there? All right. So up here, we're still in a premium, the halfway point of the gap. We've taken out all these lows. And actually, had we? No, we hadn't quite made it down to them. So these lows were still in play. So, and we were still in a premium at 2 o'clock. Okay, so let's go back to 1 minute. So I guess my thought process was we had a high, sorry, just order block right here, fair value gap right there. And we're already dropping, so simple. Fair value gap, well, we're dropping, this was there. There's a premium fair value gap down there to go to potentially. Maybe if it came back up, it might give us a little, droppity drop. For the 2022 model, though, when this happened, shift right here, fair value gap in here, at 2, like a little breakaway gap. So for the 2022 model, the first fair value gap would have been the entry, which is right here. So if I set my stop, let me switch that over. So could have gotten a short position from the top of that fair value gap, right? And it takes a stop to take me over this order block right there. And then I could have ridden it down to this weekly gap right there in that first leg. Beautiful, 69 ticks. Actually, since I really wanted the top of that, 74 ticks. Beautiful. Then they gave us a secondary option here later on in the 2 o'clock time frame at about 3 o'clock. And then that dropped again, same place, made equal lows. And then meandered. So 2 opportunities in the afternoon on Monday. 2022 model here. because they rose back up, took out some buy side, and then a decent drop gave us what does that look like on the 5 minutes? Give us a fair value gap to work with on the 5 minutes. There, there. Right there. First fair value gap continuation. Beautiful. So 5 minute fair value gap. And drop. Okay. All right, I think that's good for now, guys. So next week I'll endeavor to be a lot more strategic, follow my process, be very specific about when to move my stop, when not to move my stop, and just trust it. There's a bunch of news things coming out. Let's take a quick look at next week's news. I think Monday's a holiday, right? I'm coming. I think Monday's a holiday for somebody. So it's empty. Oh, Juneteenth. Thank you. Juneteenth. I don't know. I don't see anything in here saying that. 19th? Well, the 12th. Wow. Oh, it's crap. It's my mother's birthday. I gotta figure some stuff out. But on Tuesday, we have CPI coming out 8:30. Oh, sorry. That's my small. So we have CPI coming out at 8:30 on Tuesday. So that'll give us a little something, something. We've got for GBP, 10 a.m., some money talking. And then Wednesday, we have PPI coming out core. Wow, it's going to be like a news galore this week. FOMC statements, 2 p.m. It's going to be a rough day on Wednesday. Lots of movement. Thursday, we have some Euro stuff. Some retail stuff, 8:30 is going to be volatile. Yep, so. And then on Friday, 10 a.m. stuff. So it's going to be a busy, busy week. Busy, busy. Probably get some good movement. All right, guys. That's it for me. I think I'll be doing a market review like every Saturday because I need to pay attention and take a look at what I did, what I didn't, what I did wrong, what I did well, work through my psyche. But the stress of doing this is slowly dissipating. So, I expect in the coming months that this account, this paper trading account is going to be very good. But anyway, so happy Saturday. Hope your air quality is good. Let me know how your week went. Shakira out.